Introducing my guest today, Mr. Chad Merritt. Chad works blend the southern storytelling with the tenderness of memory and the honesty of grief. He writes novels that feel lived in. He builds guitars that carries the name of women who preserve their family's story. Now, how cool is that? I'm excited to hear that. He creates music rooted in places, in a legacy, and in truth. His journey hasn't been easy by any means, but it's real. And it's that kind of story that reminds that even in our hardest seasons, even in our deepest losses, there is still purpose, still beauty, still something worth holding on to. So settle in, take a deep breath, open your heart. Today, as we're talking about childhood, brotherhood, grief, creativity, and the courage it takes to keep going. This is a conversation for anyone who has lost someone, loved someone, or carried a story inside them that refused to go away. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Chad Merritt to Chit Chat, the Encouraging One Another podcast.
Well, welcome, Chad. How are you? Welcome to Chit Chat, the Encouraging One Another podcast.
Hey, Jody. It's going good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Great to have you on today. Can't wait to hear your story of some seasons you face, some highs and lows. But my podcast is all about encouraging others, and I believe everyone has a story of encouragement, and I believe your story could do that. But before we do that, I like to dive in some icebreaker questions, pick your brain a little bit. There's no right or wrong answer, just some fun questions, random off the wall questions.
Sounds good.
The first one is, what's your favorite meal?
So there's a little place down in San Diego called Mitch's Seafood. Absolute best fresh tacos, fish tacos, man. So if you ever go to San Diego, Mitch's is the place to go. Sitting behind a bait shop, super small, fresh yellowtail caught every morning or whatever, San Diego fresh fish is, man. That's like definitely good stuff on tap. And yeah, if you ever go to San Diego, man, Mitch's Seafood.
Last time I was in San Diego, it was a hot minute. I was, let's see, we went over a year ago, actually. I went down, my son-in-law worked for the shipyard, went down there, drove down, my wife and I, some of the grandkids, took a road trip. It took forever to get out of California, and I learned the hard way when driving through LA, pray a lot, because traffic in LA is the worst ever.
You're right. It's absolutely the absolute worst, man.
It was
San
like
Diego's
11
not too
o'clock
bad.
at night. It was so bad. We're like, where are we? This is insane.
Yeah. San Diego's not too bad, Jody, but like LA, yeah, it's just, I try to avoid LA like the plague.
And what's your favorite dessert? You got a favorite dessert that you're like, I gotta have that, or maybe you have it every so often, but you just kind of love the flavors. I love it. For me, it's creme brulee. I love a creme brulee with the burnt sugar on top. That's I love that.
Yeah, I'm not really a sweet tooth kind of guy, but like
Right?
if I had to pick, man, it'd probably be my mom's chocolate pie. That good
Oh,
old Southern chocolate pie
yes.
with a homemade crust. It takes about 5 sticks of butter, and
Oh,
then that meringue on top. That's brown on top from being in the oven. So if I had to pick a dessert, I'd pick my mama's chocolate pie.
that's a top five for me, because we had a lot of my Aunt Linda, my wife's my mom's oldest sister, passed away a few years ago, and that was our favorite dessert. We would literally fight over the last piece of pie. I mean, really.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Mark and I used to always fight for the last piece of pie.
so you're from Camden, right? I'm from Camden. What was your favorite place to eat back in our, you go back a few years ago? What was your favorite place to eat in Camden, Arkansas when we were growing up as kids?
I grew up out in Locust, right? So
Okay.
we commuted over to Fairview from 5th grade on, and I left there when I was 13, moved up to Jonesboro. But My favorite thing to eat there was like getting dropped off in Garden Oaks Shopping Center on Friday night to go see Ghostbusters or something, and we'd walk across the park lot and go to Taco Tico. So,
Yes. Oh,
so as a kid, but Pizza Hut's over there too, right?
yep, yep.
So it was a toss up, Jody, to go to either Taco Tico or if we had mom and dad gave us enough money to go get a pizza at Pizza Hut.
And we had
And
Woods
sometimes we didn't
Catfish as
even make it
well.
to the movie.
Yeah,
Hmm?
Woods Catfish was there as well. I worked at
Oh
Taco
yeah,
Tico and at Woods Catfish. Great, good little plug for Woods. I
that
posted this on the Camden page, so they'll see this. So
yeah, that's true. Last time I was in Camden, I went to Woods, but a lot of times we didn't even make it to the movies. I don't know about you guys, but like we would hang out in Garden Oaks and we'd go in. Was it Piggly Wiggly? I think it was at the
yes,
time, and cruise around the magazine racks and like just hold hands with little girls. That was like,
I lived on Arkansas Street, so we took the trails down to the woods and popped out by the cinema. And
yeah,
our style is we get to go to Howard's, a little convenience store, buy baseball cards for 50 cents, go to
yeah.
Taco Tico, buy tacos for 50 cents, and just have a heyday of tacos and baseball cards.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, man. Those are the days.
You got 2 plane tickets to go anywhere in the world. Where are you going and who's going with you?
If I was gonna go anywhere, man, I'd go to Australia right now,
Mm,
and I'd probably take my mom with me.
nice. I've been to
Yeah, I'd
Australia.
cruise down. I'd cruise down. Australia's like the one place I haven't been that I want to go. So yeah, being on the West Coast is so easy to go to Hawaii. Like it's cheaper for me to go to Hawaii than it is to go to Arkansas.
It's
It's
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I can get a round trip ticket to Hawaii for like $300 probably. Actually, sometimes even less out of San Diego. And
Yeah,
and it's cost me $650, man, to go back to Arkansas.
yeah, it's crazy.
I know,
Oh,
right?
the last little icebreaker question is: what skill do you have that most people would not have a clue that Chad Merritt has?
Building traditional Les Paul style guitars by hand.
Nice. Yeah, I had
Yeah,
that in
so
my
like
little question. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. I saw some of your
yeah,
pictures and some of your art craftsmanship. That's pretty awesome, man.
yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah, like I'm a longtime musician, played in punk bands and stuff for many, many, many years in San Diego, and got into doing some woodworking and tables. And one of my buddies went out to lunch. I went back to work. I had a little private business there for a while. Then I went back to work for Meta, and I went out to lunch with one of my buddies at Meta, and he was like, "Dude, your tables are amazing. You're a musician, right? Why aren't you building guitars?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's a valid point." And so, I don't do stuff just a little bit, Jody. So I go, all in and like build it the traditional way. Animal hide glue, all hand carved, using finger planes and scrapers and just basic hand tools in order to build those things. So,
Mm.
yeah, I think people would be pretty surprised.
Let's start from the beginning. Give us a little brief bio of who you are and where you're from, and just kind of let's start from the beginning a little bit and kind of get your history a little bit.
All right. So, you know me, man. I grew up in the creek bottoms and Washita River bottoms down there in Locust Bayou. And so lived there, Jody, till 13. Then we moved to Jonesboro. Jonesboro was a whole nother world, from Locust. There's 55,000 people there. We had what, 56 or something in Locust Bayou. So graduated high school from there and immediately went into the Navy as a cryptologic technician maintenance, which I let you know, and did 2 years of school down in Pensacola, did a year in Diego Garcia, and then I landed in San Diego in 1994, and I've never left.
Mm.
So did 6 years total. Got out and went to work directly for Qualcomm, San Diego, working on like what we're doing with our phones and devices right now. Like I was the one who was like doing the very first CDMA phones and
Oh
all
wow.
that stuff, right? So I was a test engineer at Qualcomm for many years. I did a stint at Motorola for about 8 years, and I was working on the original CDMA Razor team, the old flip phone. So I was on that, and then I went back to actually went to Nokia for like a year after that, and then I went back to Qualcomm, which we call that the mothership, and then Went from Qualcomm to another company called Illumina doing DNA sequencing. So I was an operations program manager there. And then, long story short, ended up going to Meta now. So I'm back doing test engineering work. So I'm a senior test engineer for Meta, working on Oculus headsets. And but yeah, I'm also, like I said, longtime musician. Started playing in bands in San Diego in like 1994, 1995. Did Warp Tour many times. Did a bunch of records, bunch of bands, all that stuff. And I still play to this day. And like those guys that, my initial bands and stuff that I was with, they're my brothers now. Like they're the closest friends I've ever had in my life. And so we're super, super tight knit. And I'm also an author, as you know. So I've written 7 novels and 3 memoirs. And actually today I am releasing a new series that I started called All Ages, which is based on my life. It's a fictional autobiography of the San Diego music scene in 1990s. And so the first one is set in 1998, and it's basically I meet a girl in line, going to see face to face. It's a whole romance thing that happens. We build a band. But it's very, very immersive into San Diego punk culture and stuff in 1998, as well as my life as a young engineer at Qualcomm. Okay. So it's like we were on the verge of like changing the world with CDMA technology, where we were sit around in the meetings, Jody, and joke about people not leaving their house without their phone the way that we did with our car keys. That was the running joke, right? It's like, hey, so one of these days, these phones are going to be like your car keys. You're not going to leave your house without it. And we laugh about it like, it's a long shot, right? So there's that aspect in the book, but there's also a big, heavily thing of like San Diego had a huge punk revolution and like from like 95 all the way through 2006. And I was blessed to be a part of that. And so we played a ton of shows, man. There's a lot of great bands that come out of San Diego. And yeah, that's my life story, man. And so now I'm back in San Diego and still working for Meta, still writing books, still writing, recording music, and still breathing, man. But I will tell you this, I also almost died at 45.
Oh, wow.
And so I take every day, like I thank the good Lord every single day when I wake up and when I go to sleep at night. I have a 4 by 38 millimeter stent in my LAD. So I survived a widowmaker heart attack at 45.
Wow.
And I was a vegan ultra runner. Like I have 100-mile buckles. I was doing 100-mile ultra marathons, plant-based, trying to avoid it, Jody. I know I'm talking a lot, but I think I should get this in there. Is like I inherited something that's called lipoprotein a. So if anyone's listening to this and you have not had your LPA checked, I have to do my due diligence and tell you to have your LPA checked, because it is completely hereditary. Most doctors don't check for it on a standard cholesterol panel. I lost my grandfather at 44 years old from a massive heart attack, so I knew that something was in my genes, right? So mid-30s, I started having symptoms. And I'm a thin guy, right? I'm like 145 pounds and 5'11", and always ran and super athletic. Went to the doctor, found out that I had it. So I was like, all right, they engineering me. I don't do things just a little bit. So I went 100% plant-based overnight. And I was plant-based for almost 10 years, Jody, and it bought me 6 months longer than it did my grandfather.
Wow.
Which is wild to think about. So long story short, the doctor at UCSD Medical Center, Dr. Semikis and Dr. Wilkinson, they're the world leaders for LPA, and they saved my life. I had 3 lesions back to back in my proximal to mid LAD artery that took a 4 by 38 millimeter stent to open. So I thank the Lord every single day, my friend. I pray every day. I pray every night. And I'm thankful for every single second that I get. So with that being said, that's why I'm totally in a legacy thing. So that's why I build hand-built Les Pauls. I sign the cavities in them and I date them. I name them after the matriarchs of my family. And I do the same thing with books. As you know, we lost Mark So Mark totally inspired me to write the Locust Bayou Legends series, and my novel here. It's all about grief, Jody, and having that one last opportunity to have another conversation with them after they're gone. And I get choked up thinking about it because, so yeah, I don't know. That's a lot that I just tossed out there, but that's pretty much my life story, my friend.
But you hit some things that I didn't have on my notes. I'll go back to, but I want to go back a little bit to the military. You and I just kind of crossed paths. I missed you a little bit. I joined in '89. I got out in '93. Had boot camp in San Diego, sea school in San Diego, and my ship was originally stationed in San Diego, but got moved to Bremerton, Washington, where I am now. And I've been here ever since myself. I've been home a handful of times to Camden. My parents were toward Hot Springs now. And so, yeah, we kind of cross paths with Redeman. So we're kind of in the same, don't ask, don't tell us. We can't tell you what we do type jobs.
Exactly. Yeah. You were on the other side of tech control for us.
I was the USS Truxton. Selling the Seven Seas. What are some experiences that you really enjoyed in the military? It was, camaraderie, meeting guys, going to awesome places. What are some things that you kind of remember off being we're veterans basically, serving this country, and we took the oath of to serve and protect and defend. And what was that like for you?
Oh, for me, it was all about. I say one thing: it's the best school that I ever went through. Right, like the 2 years I went to school in Pensacola for CTM, which is basic electronics and engineering classes, and then I had an advanced C school too. Was the best education, the best school that outside of took a bunch of classes, San Diego State, all that stuff, and doing electrical engineering, but nothing really compared to like the schools I got in the Navy. So that would be, probably second. Number one, like you said, the camaraderie, right? I mean, you have that brotherhood. You don't really have that out in the civilian world. However, I've been blessed with that with some friends at Qualcomm. Matter of fact, I'm working on a deal right now to go back and work with some guys that I worked with back in 1997. We're all ex-Qualcomm guys. So have that same brotherhood kind of thing like the military. Coolest place I went was Diego Garcia for a year.
Yep, I've been there.
Yeah. But I never stepped foot on a ship, man. Never. The closest I ever got to a ship was driving down 32nd Street in San Diego. Like I never went on a ship. So I cannot relate. I wish I would have, but no, I never did.
They flew me out to, they needed a radioman apparently, so they flew me out to Diego Garcia halfway through a Westpac. I flew to Seattle, Anchorage to the Philippines, which was the longest flight I've ever flown in my life.
Yeah.
And we're landing on Diego Garcia, the smallest island you could imagine.
Yeah.
we're landing there. All right. But, man, that water
you see nothing but water, and all of a sudden there's coconut trees everywhere. Yeah.
Water was so blue, though. My goodness, it was so much fun. It was so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool you went there, man, because I didn't realize you were there. I was there in 93 to 94. Yeah,
That's
93 to 94, and then I came to San Diego August of 1994.
Well, the goal of my podcast is to encourage others and share your story. In your early years, you mentioned about your brother. Let's share about that a little bit, and kind of how did that impact you, and how did that change you, and share a little bit about your brother a little bit.
Well, you have Shane, right? So that brother relationship. So my brother and I had that too, right? We were always close all the years, even though we had our differences. It didn't matter when push came to shove, right? And we're always there. So as you know, we tragically lost Mark, and you have to excuse me if I get upset talking about this, but Mark tragically drowned in the Ouachita River, and it took us 17 days to find him. So I was on the riverbank, and I made a promise to him that his grandkids and his grandkids' kids and their kids and so on and so forth would know him. Mm-hmm. So the only way that I knew how to do that was to write a book. And I write it as him, truly him and us growing up. So that's what sparked the first novel that I wrote, which is called Here. And what here is basically it's a time travel book, but the time travel is not explained. It's in the very oral traditional um, style that we grew up with, right? So there's a lot more said that's not said. So there's a lot of things under the words that I kind of trust the reader to understand. So the mechanism, which I won't give too much away about the book, but the mechanism is never explained. The mechanism is only a tool in order to go back, spend time with your loved ones, walk in those rooms that are no longer there, hug the people that are no longer there, and be able to have that last conversation with someone who's not there. Um, so it's a lot of childhood stories in there as well of Mark and I growing up, and then basically my fictionalized life as well. So that's what sparked the whole thing, and then losing Mark was, my brother lived by today. He didn't think about tomorrow. He didn't think about yesterday. He used to always tell me, little brother, tomorrow's gone, or tomorrow's not promised. Yesterday's gone. We only have right now.
Mm.
Mark never talked to me about mortality until what happened with me. He had a hard time accepting the fact that I almost died. He didn't inherit it, Jody, so he went and got, tested and stuff, and he didn't have it. And I would have late night text conversations of him saying that he would take it from me if he could. And so when I lost him, man, it's tough. I think about him every day. I cry about him just about every day. I write about him almost every day. And I think that I've seen to it. I wrote Here, and I've written 5 Locust Bayou Legends novels that are also stories of Mark and I and other people that were in our lives at that time, just doing like the light, like remember the Amy light and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of the books is focused on that, and I just take that light and put it down in Locust Bayou, and then these kids have to figure out, what it is. That's an adventure. It's a mystery series for kids and young adults, and adults would like it too as well.
Were you a writer before that, or this kind of came upon you slowly? Like, I need to get this on paper. Kind of the stories we shared, just kind of as a what do you call it? As a way to just kind of get your feelings on paper. Is that how it started out as?
Yeah. So for me, like I've been a songwriter since I was a kid, right? I've always written songs. I've done music forever, right? And so for me, like writing a song is basically like trying to condense a story down into a 3-minute song, right? Or for a punk song, 2.5, 3 minutes, right? So oral tradition really works in that format, right? So growing up listening to my dad tell stories is like one of the favorite things in my entire life, right? And so that's where I learned. I always say that I learned all my storytelling from the best in the world, because I think our traditional oral storytellers there in South Arkansas were the best in the world. We were lucky enough to sit and listen. Well, I always had the movie in my eyes, Jody, when they told me. I listened, but I saw. Like I had movies playing when they were telling stories, right? And so I've always wanted to write a novel and stuff and get everything down, right? So when Mark died, I finally got the time and the space and the motivation to do it. And so when I did it, I put 7 novels out and 3 memoirs. I did a memoir on my family history from all the way 1755 back in Virginia, all the way until, my great grandparents. And then I'd use that through stories that have been told to me from my great aunts and great uncles and stuff through the years, right? And then I did my father's stories that he told me growing up. That was the second memoir. And then I did a summer of '84, which is going to Fairview in the 5th grade. And that whole thing I got everything in there. So if you ever want to like have some nostalgia, read that. It's short. It's only 35,000 words, but it will take you back to the skating rink, the movies, Fairview Middle School. Like, I know you went to Camden, and like we were rivals. I mean, Camden Fairview games, man, every year, huge deal.
Yeah.
And but if you ever want some nostalgia, yeah, I'd say read that, man, because it's yeah. So to answer your long long question or long answer short, yes, Mark is the push that I needed in order to actually sit down and like start writing. And when I did, it just poured out, and it's still coming out. So now I've moved on to San Diego, and now I'm starting to write about my San Diego life.
How did you get involved in? You said you're playing music for a while. When did music really become a part of you, and writing songs, and how long have you been being a musicians, if you will?
Well, from a kid, right? So I grew up in, like I said, the Washita River bottoms and creek bottoms and stuff, right? So my great aunts and great uncles, if it had strings on it, they could play it, and they did, and they sang, and that's just what we did, Jody, on Saturday nights. Is we'd go sit on those porches and we'd listen, and I'd listen, and then I learned how to play. I was learned my first chords, I guess, when I was about 8 years old. And so I never really got serious about it until I got to San Diego. And in 1994, I went to a punk show, this band, my favorite band, called Face to Face. Seen them at Soma, and I was like, that's it, I'm starting a band. And so that just started my whole journey right there. And yeah, as a matter of fact, like Trevor Keith from Face to Face, who is the lead singer, he has one of my guitars. I built him a guitar and shipped it to him. So he has one of, so that's a full circle moment, man. Like Trevor's the reason why I started playing music. Like, well, started playing, started a band, right? So, and so he now has one of my guitars that I built.
Done some touring at all, or made it to California, or even on the road some places?
Yeah, we played up there with you, like where you're at, right? Warp Tour. We did Warp Tour. Did a lot of up and down California and stuff. Nothing really back on the East Coast. We did a split record with a band called Gino's Eyeball out of Belgium, and we were due to go on a European tour for about 6 weeks, and some unforeseen things happened with my bass player, and that fell through, unfortunately. So that's about the extent of it. We didn't go on like some crazy like all the way across the U.S. and stuff. I was working full time, Jody. I wasn't going to walk away from Qualcomm to to go ride around in a van. You know what I mean? Another life, I probably would have, but I had Nicholas back then. Well, Nicholas was born in 2001. So yeah, for me, man, that was that was a nail in the coffin when it came to like going and touring.
You are the founder of Grain and Glory Guitars, correct?
Correct. Yeah, exactly. It started out as Punk Rock Farms.
Okay.
And I was building like live edge river tables and stuff. I was living in the Santa Cruz Mountains, in the nice redwoods and stuff. And all that wood came off of our property. And then that morphed into Grain and Glory Guitars. Yeah.
Share your first guitar, the idea, the concept of creating a guitar, craftsman from start to finish. And mind you, you're naming these guitars in different names as well.
Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you right now.
Oh, show and tell.
Podcast, but so this is the first one that I built. This is Francis Myrtle. So this is all Brazilian rosewood fretboard, old mahogany, flame top maple 5A. So I do it all by hand. This is all built.
Wow.
Traditional way. Yes, but this is Frances Myrtle. She is named after my grandmother and my favorite great aunt. So my grandmother Frances and my favorite great aunt Myrtle. But yeah, this is all hand done. I do a signature recurve and stuff on my guitars, and I also wind the pickups. You would appreciate that being on the electrical side. It's just magnets and wires basically, but I do it the traditional way that they did back in 1957. So my goal is for someone to pick this thing up and it feel like something that came out of the 50s.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, put that down. That's pretty much the story. Yeah.
That's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I think one of the regrets in my life when I was a kid, My dad often had an acoustic guitar. He would come in and he'd sit on the couch or his bed and just tinker around and play a little bit. Got me a guitar. It wasn't expensive, it wasn't cheap. It was kind of in the middle, and tried to teach me. And I just had other things as a kid, basketball and
Yeah.
sports, riding bikes. And one of the regrets I have being 55 is I wish I took more time and kind of learning a little bit more how to play the guitar, because I love sitting. I go find YouTube videos and just watch guys play acoustic music, and I just love it's for me. It's really peaceful. It just helps calm the busyness. I just love. I'm a big John Denver guy. I love his music. So yeah, one of the regrets is for sure is not learning how to play the guitar, more effectively, and hear my dad play, and so cool. Many memories,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. It's great stuff, man. Yeah, I play guitar, I play bass, I sing, I play drums. I do full albums too. Like, so I've recorded and I've written, recorded, produced my own records. So under Outside the Lines, if you look that up, that's all me, like everything that's on there. And then 16 Hour Drive was my longest running band in San Diego, 3-piece band. And but yeah, you're never too late. You got the rest of your life. Pick it up. Go play, man.
So how long is
It's like, huh?
finish building a guitar? How long does it take you?
About 6 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, about 6 weeks. I could probably, you could do it quicker, but like the wood needs to sit. It's old wood, so if you touch it and you carve it and stuff, it's going to move a little bit. So you have to wait. These guitars are super precise, Jody. If I'm a millimeter off on my neck angle or something, it won't play. It's very, very, very precise. Like the neck pocket has to be exactly, I like 3.9 degrees. Like, so my neck's at 3.9 degrees. My headstock is at 17 degrees. Like everything has to be absolutely perfect on these guitars. And so it takes time and it takes some skill to get everything, lined up and perfect.
If someone's out there listening and like, oh, I'd love to get a guitar built, how can they reach out to you? Or do you sell them? You just how does it work for you?
Yeah, totally. Just go to, I have a website, punkrockfarms.com, or you can either go to my Instagram, which is just at Grain and Glory. And then all the guitars and stuff are on there. You can reach out. Social media is probably the easiest way, like Instagram, right? At Green and Glory Guitars. And then my author is just chadmerrittauthor.com. So you can also reach me there too.
Okay. How has faith helped you throughout everything you faced? You wear a lot of hats. You mentioned a lot of things that you do and have done. How has faith really helped you in day-to-day living? Every day's a new day to see, still a quote, seize the day. God's giving you each day. How do you make the best of it for each day?
Well, like I said, the heart thing definitely brought all that home. I would definitely say over my life, we're both raised in Mall Road Church of Christ, right? And so went down, and Locust Bayou Church of Christ before that. For me, I'll be honest with you, like when I left and went in the Navy, I didn't go to church at all, period. Like for many, 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 many years, right? And I don't regularly go now. But even though I wasn't in church, I always prayed. So I never miss a night of praying. Definitely had some trying times, throughout my life, going through another one right now, going through a divorce right now, right? So my world blew up, oh God, like 3 years ago, right? And it's still going on. Thank goodness I didn't sell my house in Southern California, right? So I thank God for that every day. Something told me just don't sell your house, right? And I did it, and I have a place to come back to. I've been very blessed, Jody. Like I've had like a really great life, because anything and everything that I've ever wanted to do, I've been able to do it. And whether it's building a guitar or writing a song or going into a studio and recording an album or plan a show at Soma, right, which was a big goal like back in the day, or write a book or work at Qualcomm. All these things I've been able to do, and I think the only reason why I've been able to do all those things is because I've always had faith in God, but also faith in myself. And without faith in God, I don't think I would have any faith in myself. I don't do things just a little bit, as you probably can tell by talking to me, right? Like if someone's like make a guitar, they might just go and buy a kit guitar or something, right? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to build it the traditional way by hand and figure it out and master it. And it's kind of the way I've always been. And I credit the way that we were raised. We were raised in the church. We were raised to respect our elders. We were raised to respect each other. You know what I mean? And we were raised to be appreciative of everything that we had.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have that much back then. And family was very, 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 very sacred thing. So my great aunts and stuff always called it the binding thread, which is what I named my book about our family. It's called The Binding Thread. And they were like, we don't have the riches and the property and all these things to pass down, but what we do have to pass down is our love for one another.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to continue our love for one another. We need to continue, getting together. And I think that, like, I don't know, man, it's going to be lost right now. And like, it's tough to think about, Jody, because like, if you look at like if I look at my son now, he's 24, 25 now, maybe to come at some point, zero interest, right, in like that life of his elder or his relative, distant relatives and stuff of ancestors and everything,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe to come back full circle. But I think our generation was very blessed. Like we didn't have these.
Yeah.
You give us a stick and I gotta, I can go out and play war, or I can play a motorcycle, or I can play whatever with just a stick out of the yard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now we don't.
One of the things that I will always cherish, my dad turns 80 this year. We're going to get together in Colorado. Shane's in Colorado. We're going to get together and have a birthday shindig for my dad. But I think for a few things that he taught me most, I still carry on, was respect for anyone, humility. In a boot camp, I was saying yes sir, no sir, and the guy's like, I get paid for a living. I was raised for 18 years to say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am.
Yep.
I still do it today. I'm 55.
Yeah.
I still do it today,
To whoever. Yeah, exactly.
And Dad's like, you'll respect everybody, I'm honored. He was a fireman, volunteer firefighter. I have much respect for firemen, police officers, law enforcement, and so those things in my DNA, with my dad just raised me of, respecting each other, and so, many memories of that for sure growing up as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Who are some people that really encouraged you, inspired you? Maybe you reached out and you fell on your face and they said, you got this, Chad. Keep going. It's okay. People in your life that really encouraged you, is that how you put the names on the guitars that kind of remind you of that as well?
Yeah, without a doubt. So I would come home on leave, Jody, and I'd go spend all day Saturday with my great Aunt Myrtle, my great Aunt Belle, my great Aunt Mac, and then BB. And I remember my Aunt Belle would always pick at me. She'd be like, why do you want to hang out with a bunch of old women, Chad? And I was like, why? I wanted to hear stories, and just be with them, because I knew that time's precious.
Mm-hmm.
They're not here anymore, and I knew that they weren't going to be, here for a long time. But honestly, I would say my friends, man, in San Diego, like the guys that I've met, like my friend Vince, my friend Jimmy, my friend Dave, Phip, Reese. Have a core group of 5 guys, and we've been like super tight. There's 6 of us. We've been super, super tight all the way since like the mid 90s. And we have a chat thread. We have a text message thread, and we talk to each other every single day. And like, so we are always supporting each other. We're always like hand in hand, so to speak, through our lives ever since like 94. So you're going 30, 32 years now of like daily interaction with these people.
Mm.
And it's all through music. Like, it's crazy. Like I met Reese through an ad in the Reader. We have this weekly newspaper in San Diego called the Reader, and we used to have music classifieds in there. And that's how I met Reese. Well, Reese introduced me to Dave, and Dave introduced me to Vince, and then Vince introduced me to Jimmy and to Phip. And Phip is the one who did all my tattoos. He has a shout out to him, like Avalon Tattoo in San Diego. Where I thought I had one of the shirts on, but 30 something years, like 35 years or something. I think
Wow.
they've been open down there. And so I would say them, and of course my mom and dad. My dad's always been there for me, and with the, wonderful advice and stuff. Your mom's pretty awesome too, man. Like she reads all my books, and gives me amazing, like the most loving feedback, and she really enjoys reading them. And man, I tell you what, that's enough for me. Like,
I had no idea.
yeah, you should ask her. Yeah, she reads all my books, and her and I communicate on Facebook probably. Oh man, almost daily she'll post on something, on my page or something. She'll comment or something, and
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
I had
yeah.
no
Because
idea.
your little brother and I were really great friends. Like me and Shane and Wade, and like we were, and a few other people there at the church and stuff, and
Yeah.
and yeah, we were all tight back then.
I was down in Mall Road. Golly, it's been a hot minute. My mom's mom passed away a number of years ago, and we had a caravan from Bismarck to Smackover, where she was buried, and we went back to Mall Road and had like a potluck. And Johnny Hobby, the pastor, and him and I are good friends, and so many memories came through driving through Camden, and the many youth events and the many pastors and youth passes we had at Mall Road. It was so they were the building blocks in my life of John T. Smithson and Mark Rowland, and a lot of guys who just helped chisel in me, and
Oh yeah.
in Christ. And oh man, Gary and Terry Cox, good brothers. I hung out with them often. It was a lot of memories in Camden, and
Oh yeah.
for sure, it was awesome place. 15,000 people was in that home at that town that we lived in. My dad worked at AT&T and a fireman. My mom was a school teacher. If I got in trouble, they found about it quickly.
Oh yeah, exactly. Do you remember the youth days we used to do at the church? Like the kids would take over and do the whole services and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I still remember you doing prayers and stuff during that. And like what you would do, I still remember you doing like communion and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Every fifth Sunday, the young men would lead the service.
Yes.
And somehow or other, my brother and I would lead singing or preach. And we, everybody else didn't want to preach or lead singing. Everybody else got small things, communion and whatnot. And
that's what I did. I did the communion.
Yeah. I did a sermon, and I talked really fast back in the days. I think I've gotten better over the years, but I did a sermon. My dad said record it, practice it, and I had it down like 20 minutes. It was a Sunday evening, and I did up there with my notes. I was going slow, and we said amen. It was 6:28. We were out in service in 28 minutes.
That's awesome.
My dad's like, at every point you spoke slowly. He was proud of me, so I'm like, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I still remember that. Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, great times. What have you learned? I'll ask you questions. What have you learned over the different seasons you faced in your life? Things you've gone through. What are some things you've learned to kind of maybe improve yourself or just kind of be a better person?
I think the big thing just comes back down to like our roots. Like I credit like growing up where I did, and the time and the place and the people that I was with. I carry that with me, every day. Like I trust people. I think that you have to trust people, even though you get burned, which, you know, we've all done that. And, but Jody, like I said, if I can't just half do something, right? So, in the same way with relationships, if I'm in, I'm in.
Mm,
So for me, like the biggest thing that, you know, keeps me going and stuff is just that drive to be trustworthy, to have those the respect, the common respect, right? My dad used to tell me like the same thing, like you can't be respected if you don't earn that respect from someone,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so for me, like when, you know, things get tough and everything, I just kind of go back to that whole thing and just, you know, just understand that it's not us that are always the reason. Yeah, you know, we all have faults and we always make mistakes and stuff, right? But I think if you love someone and you trust someone and you give them your heart, then that's what you can do, right? I mean, that's all you can do, and it's up to that other person in order to like to understand what that means and respect that, and you know, and then do the same thing for you. So for me, it's just got to keep that mindset because it's so easy, man, to like go down a rabbit hole. And I think we've all been there, right? And like, it's so easy to get so down on yourself and like, well, you know, I effed up or I messed up or
yeah,
whatever, right? You know, you can blame yourself. Well, I shouldn't have trusted this person. I shouldn't have done that. And I shouldn't have done this. And you can sit there and beat yourself up all day long. But at the end of the day, it doesn't do any good. You kind
yeah,
of got to get back up, you know, like, you know, you fall down as a kid and you know, dad looks at it and says, leg's not falling off. So dust it off with some dirt, put some dirt on it and put some dirt on it and keep
yep,
going.
yep.
You know what I mean? So
Um,
I think you got to do that throughout life, man. Um, when this heart thing happened, Jody, I'm going to be honest with you. I had a real tough time, man. 2 years I was in PTSD therapy with a cardiac therapist.
mm,
Heightened like sense of like, you know, you have one little twinge and the next thing you know, you think you're having another heart attack and you're back in the ER. You know, massive anxiety, massive panic attacks, all of that, right? And then I think you have to come to the realization and trust in God that um one, thanks for the medical technology that he gave man in order to do that, right? And then
mhm,
two, just trust in that you're here for a reason.
yeah,
But I think that's what it comes down to, right? Is like we're all here for a reason. Mark used to say that we're all set to a clock.
yep,
That's exactly what Mark told me. And he goes, when it's my time, it's my time. And he goes, you know, understand that it's my time. And same thing with you, Chad, right? Like, you know, we're all set to a clock. So I think if you maintain that mentality throughout life and just try and be positive and get back up and keep going and just be thankful that you're still here living and breathing because our lives are so short. I mean, look, you're the same age as Mark. I'm 3 years younger than you and Shane's age. In a blink of an eye, Jody, we went from listening to your sermon in the Mall Road Church of Christ to sitting here today.
yeah. It,
And if you look at that little span of time, in my mind, I know that I probably don't have that much span in time on the other side from where
mhm,
I'm at now.
yeah, yeah.
Um, you know what I
Are
mean?
you able to share your story with men for your health that you've gone through? You know, in the like a one-on-one basis, with some guys kind of sharing your story of you almost dying, and are you able to get that story out to other men to get held, checked up and whatnot?
Yeah. So I did a part of the for the cholesterol foundation for American Heart Association. They did my story.
Oh
And then
well,
there's a specific LPA, lipoprotein A group that is like kind of sparked off of the Heart Association. And so I probably should have sent you a link. I'll send you a link. So they did a whole article on me and my story. And I've done webcast as well. And I've talked to people. I donated my blood to research to UCSD. I've done my DNA to UCSD. I've done anything and everything that I can to like help the doctors and help get the word out for
mm,
lipoprotein little a.
oh
Um,
well,
so for me, that's helped me heal from
hmm
it. from this, and I just want everyone to understand that one, trust your instincts. I had a voice in my head, Jody, that just kept screaming louder and louder and louder and louder, you're going to die, over and over and over again. That pending doom is a real thing. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
Don't dismiss symptoms. Don't write it off as stress. If it's something out of the ordinary, go get checked, because it could save your life. And the other thing is patient advocacy. Because being young, I was 44 years old, almost 45, had a long-term cardiologist, and she blew me off. Told me that it was anxiety, it was stress, high stress job, all this stuff, commute, everything, right? You're a runner, you're a vegan, your cholesterol is super low. And it took me advocating for myself and going from Scripps in San Diego to UCSD. Otherwise, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you right now. Like, if I'd have listened to her and went home and just said, "Oh, okay, I'm fine," I wouldn't be here right now.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I'd like for you to share your books, your website for your books, so people can check out books, and my mom can give you more reviews.
Yeah, she did. Your mom's gave me an awesome review on Amazon, man.
Where can people order your books?
Amazon. Yeah, they're all on Amazon, or they can go right to my website. And if they order it from my website, then I'll sign it. I'll sign it and
Cool.
ship it. So
Awesome,
every
man.
book that's from there, I'll sign and ship it. Yeah. But it's been cool, man. Thanks for taking your time out of your day and
Hey.
catching up.
You're most welcome. We're glad to have you on the show today, and we'll recap here afterwards. But thanks so much. I hope we can stay in touch, and just wish you the best, man. Thanks so much.
All right, sounds good, Jody.